The other side of our studio with Media Watch, Emma James, with more on the French president's former bodyguard, in inverted commas, I think. Back in the headlines.
Yes, and not for any good reasons. And it really does call into question why Alexandre Benalla was ever employed so close to the presidential candidate as he was then. But then he stayed with him throughout the presidency until, obviously, his misdemeanours became public. This is him out on the campaign trail April 2017 in Poitiers, a very ordinary looking photograph with Emmanuel Macron there with a French citizen, and the man in the burgundy jumper lurking to the left is none other than Alexandre Benalla, if you don't remember what he looks like. Now, the French investigative site Mediapart has got its hands on a selfie that was taken the night before in Poitiers, and it paints a very different picture indeed. This is Alexandre Benalla apparently pointing a gun at the neck of a waitress. Now, they were posing for a selfie. He decided to whip out his weapon in order to take this photograph. It's a very humorless and rather sinister looking photograph. It looks more like they're trying to kidnap her or get ransom money or something.
I take it this is the famous weapon that he spoke about when he was before the French Senate. He said he had that for his own protection.
Exactly, and he also said that he never took it out on the campaign trail. So he has said this is fake news. I don't quite know how he can say that, given that it doesn't appear to have been photoshopped, and we don't know exactly how Mediapart managed to get their hands on this selfie. They haven't identified the waitress who was in that photograph. But they have reported on the fact that the man who ran the restaurant at that time, Les Archives in Poitiers, said that he spoke to the waitress about this selfie and actually warned her to keep it to herself, because he said it could be dangerous, it could lose this guy his job. He understood the repercussions or potential repercussions. And the most important thing about this is that he was not authorised to carry the weapon in that particular moment in time. He was only allowed to carry it within the party headquarters at that time. He should not have been out on the campaign trail with it, and yet here he is brandishing it for the sake of a selfie photograph. So it is very strange. But he says, I never had a photo taken with any kind of weapon during the campaign. The evidence would suggest that that is not the case. So yes, the restaurant owner says the waitress told him all about it. He warned her. Interestingly, Alexandre Benalla's lawyer has said, yes, the photograph was wrong. He's not denying that it took place. But what he does say is wrong is the fact that the media is paying too much attention to this. He says there are far more serious things to worry about than further damaging the reputation of his client. I'm not quite sure how much reputation he has left to damage, given that everyone knows who he is because of this video where he was seen apparently beating up protesters on May Day this year when he was out on a bit of a jolly day out with police officers, and he seemed to be imitating one of them wearing a police armband. Now, this could have serious repercussions. Obviously, that video caused him to lose his job. This photograph has sparked an investigation in Poitiers, so we will wait and see how that plays out. Despite the seriousness, though, people are still poking fun on Twitter, having a bit of fun with Photoshop. Post on Benalla, place your Benalla, basically. Some of them are putting him in political positions like this one, others going for a cuter option. This one, I think, is my favourite of the lot. Don't shoot, says the squirrel.
OK, let's put Benalla's on one side. And tell us about the baby that's captured the hearts of everybody at the United Nations General Assembly, in between all the diplomatic mudslinging.
And
There's
boring
a
speeches, you might
There's
say, if you were being a bit cynical about it all. Yes, my Twitter feed is decidedly broody right now because it seems the world has fallen in love with this chubby-cheeked little individual. She is, of course, the daughter of Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister. She's only 3 months old, which is why she was brought along on this trip to the UN General Assembly. Here she is photographed perched on her father's knee. He is a stay-at-home husband, Clark Gayford. So the family forming the New Zealand delegation at the UN General Assembly. She's the first baby to go, and she's certainly the first baby. Well, in fact, they've given her that title on her security pass. Miss Niamh Arden Gayford, New Zealand first baby she has instead of a job title. He has said that they did cause a bit of a stir when a Japanese delegation walked into a meeting room to find him changing the nappy. It's interesting to note, though, that in the comments to this, you see how little people have really moved on, because this person is outraged, saying he can't blame the Japanese for being shocked, changing a baby's nappies in a meeting room. Is that not what changing rooms or toilets are for? Now, given that Neve is the first baby to ever go to the UN, I don't suppose...
no changing facilities at the UN, I'll bet.
Wouldn't imagine so, no, absolutely. The UN's definitely given a thumbs up to this. Their spokesman saying that she is showing that no one is better qualified to represent her country than a working mother. That's the words of Stefan Dujarric. Lots of people, though, making the same joke right now. There are two little babies at the UN because, of course, Donald Trump got rather roundly laughed at on stage. And the other joke that everyone is sharing, there's a tweet for every occasion, because having been laughed at for praising his own achievements, saying that they were better than anybody else's had been...
All the delegates burst out laughing, didn't they?
They burst out laughing, and people are reproducing this tweet from 2014 when he was talking about Barack Obama. We need a president who isn't a laughingstock to the entire world. We need a truly great leader, a genius at strategy and winning. Respect. A lot of people poking a bit of fun at Donald Trump, given the reception he got at the UN today.
And in that reception, they weren't laughing with him, they were laughing very much at him, weren't they?
Definitely, yes.
Emma, thank you very much indeed. And with Media Watch, Catherine with the business, thank you very much indeed too. And thanks to you, because without you, it's not worthwhile. Stay with us here. More to come live from Paris.